All right, hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a really cool tool that helps researchers, scientists, and pretty much anyone trying to make sense of a massive amount of information. So let's get right into it.
I want you to think about something for a second. Millions, and I mean millions, of academic papers get published every single year. The world of knowledge isn't just growing, it's exploding. It's like a vast galaxy. So how on earth does anyone find their way around? How do you see the big picture when you're just surrounded by this endless sea of stars? Well, what you really need is a map.
So let's start with the big problem here, which is just the sheer universe of research. If you're in academia or science today, you know the feeling of information overload. It's this ever-expanding cosmos of knowledge, and trying to figure out how it all connects can be, well, incredibly daunting. We're not just talking about finding one paper, we're talking about trying to grasp the entire structure of a field of study.
Right, so each one of those individual papers is like a single star. It's got its own light, its own data. But the real discoveries, the big aha moments, they happen when you start to see how those stars form constellations. Because that's where the magic happens, right? Understanding the connections, who is working with whom, which ideas are linked, and where the new frontiers of knowledge are actually taking shape.
And this brings us to the solution, the tool for the job. To navigate this universe, we need a special kind of map maker. And that's where VOSviewer comes in. It's a free software tool designed to do exactly this, to draw these incredible maps of knowledge. So what is it exactly? Well, VOSviewer is a software tool for building and visualizing what are called bibliometric networks. In simple terms, it takes a ton of publication data and turns it into an interactive map. And just so you know, this isn't some random piece of software. It was developed by top-tier researchers at Leiden University's Center for Science and Technology Studies, specifically to chart the structure of science itself. And what's really cool about VOSviewer is just how versatile it is. It can map all kinds of different relationships. You can see which authors publish together all the time, or which keywords always seem to pop up in the same research papers. You can track who's citing whom. You can even zoom out and map connections between entire countries and universities to see where the global hotspots of collaboration are. So how do you actually go from a spreadsheet of raw data to one of these amazing discovery maps? Now, we're not going to do a super technical deep dive here, but the whole process can be broken down into a pretty simple three-step workflow.
Okay, step one, you've got to gather your data. This usually means exporting records from huge academic databases like Web of Science or Scopus. Oh, and a little pro tip here. These databases often limit you to exporting maybe 500 records at a time, so you might need to grab a few files and combine them. Step two, you tell VOSviewer what you're looking for. Are you interested in keywords, authors, citations? You choose. And finally, step three, you just let the software do its thing. It crunches all that data and spits out your beautiful, interactive network map.
Okay, so we've made our map. Now what? How do we actually read it? Because this is where the real power kicks in. The visual language of VOSviewer is built on just a few simple, really intuitive rules that can show you some surprisingly deep insights. The first thing that's going to jump out at you is color. Anything that shares the same color belongs to a cluster. You can think of these as, different research neighborhoods. So imagine you're mapping AI research. You might see a huge red cluster for machine learning, a big blue one for natural language processing, and maybe a smaller, new purple cluster connecting them both to ethical AI. And boom, you can see exactly where the new, interesting conversations are happening. It's awesome.
Rule number 2 is all about distance. And this one's super simple. The closer two circles are on the map, the more related they are. So if the terms gene therapy and cancer treatment are practically sitting on top of each other, instantly that's a hotbed of current research. If they're on opposite sides of the map, it means they're hardly ever discussed in the same context.
And the third rule is size. The bigger the circle or the label, the more weight that thing has. Now, weight can mean different things depending on your analysis. For example, if you see this giant circle for the keyword CRISPR on a biology map, you know right away that it is a hugely dominant topic in your dataset.
So stepping back for a second, what does this all mean in the real world? VOSviewer is a super powerful tool. But like any tool, you've got to know what it's great at and what to be careful about. I mean, the ways people are using this are all over the map, literally. In the health sciences, researchers use it to spot emerging trends in disease research. In the social sciences, you can use it to map how theories have evolved over time. And in engineering, it helps track innovation and see which companies or universities are leading the charge on new tech. But, and this is a big but,
It's not some magic crystal ball. First off, the old saying, garbage in, garbage out, it absolutely applies here. Your map is only as good as the data you feed it. Second, you do need some expertise to interpret these maps. It can be really easy to jump to the wrong conclusion without the right context. And finally, you have to remember that science never stands still. A VOSviewer map is a snapshot of the research world at one specific moment in time.
And that brings us to what I think is the most important takeaway. VOSviewer is not an answer machine. It's not going to tell you what's true or what's false. What it is a compass. It gives you this powerful visual way to explore a field, to ask smarter questions, and to figure out where you should look next.
And that leaves us with a pretty cool thought, doesn't it? With tools like this that let us see the landscape of human knowledge in completely new ways, you just have to wonder, what kind of major breakthroughs are just sitting there, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to draw the right map and finally connect the dots?